Hi, Muchismo Eugene. Welcome to another video from Exit Strategy. Let's talk about the update on Amber Heard. I don't know if you guys know this story of Amber Heard. She was, I don't know if she was the estranged wife of Johnny Depp, but in any event, girlfriend, wife. Don't think they had any kids together, but the update is she's living in Spain and she has a daughter. By way of surrogacy, she had a daughter. And so she's pretty much going under the radar right now. She hasn't worked in about 3 years. You remember the story in the trial? Johnny Depp supposedly, allegedly used to beat on her with no marks, no proof, no evidence whatsoever. She kept it hidden, quiet, because she was going through abuse syndrome. It was discovered in the trial by a certified psychologist that Amber Heard was indeed a narcissist. This sort of like was spoken out into, it was spoken openly, but it's ironic that now even she has withered away like a flower. No one is really talking about it. It's just, it went away. Now there's a couple things that are problematic here, and one of them is the fact that this word was put out on mainstream TV media. It was put out into the world. We wondered why the hell Johnny Depp hasn't made a Pirate of the Caribbeans, there will be no knowing of her. I used to love this guy, still love him. Phenomenal actor. He also has a band he plays in. That's one aspect of it. It went away, withered like a flower. No one even talks about it. And for two, how the emphasis on the fact that she lied blatantly, tried to ruin this man, both his career, and she tried to take his freedom, tried to have him literally arrested for domestic violence that never happened. She, in fact, was the abuser. This guy's missing the end of one of his digits because she threw a champagne glass at him and it cut a part of his finger off. She, through the trial, we discovered from Johnny Depp and his testimony that she would hit him relentlessly and he would have to retreat, and he never really hit her back. He would try to subdue her, grab her, restrain her as much as he could without leaving any marks on her, obviously. He did the best he could, not understanding what he was dealing with her as he gave testimony. And the world tends to just not really think that this is a big deal. And I'll show you what the biggest problem with that is. Men just don't really seem to care enough about this. We don't speak enough about it. We don't rehash it enough. We don't care about it. I see this at the local level. You know why women win court cases when it comes to either domestic violence, either whether it happened or didn't happen? They win a lot of times because the man becomes mute. He starts out saying, I didn't do it, she's lying, blah, 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 and we end up just losing the fight. What are we fighting for, you ask? We're fighting for our character. We're fighting for our freedom. We're fighting for things. We're fighting for humanity. We're fighting for the man that the world wants to disappear. The common, everyday, hard-working defender of the home. This is what the powers that be are trying to eradicate, or they're trying to obliterate. They don't want the strong man anymore. They want a man that is controlled, not only by the woman, but by the system. The olden days of a man being the defender, the protector of his home, they've brainwashed women into believing that this is not what they need. This is not what will pay homage to them. This is not what will benefit them. And they're giving the delusion or illusion that men are in a challenge or a competition with them, as though we are treating them like second-class citizens. And if you have a good man and you have a man that has been with you from day one and he is consistent, don't allow society to tell you different. Don't allow your girlfriends to tell you different. Now, this affects women too when it comes down to this court, the lies, the slander, and different things too. But anyone who paying attention to the world at large, we know that this does affect women where they are smeared upon by men who are in power and in position. Say they're a police officer and she is just has a regular everyday job. A lot of times I've heard stories from women that have either lost custody of their kids, they have went to jail on the back of a lie because he had influence. Okay, my empathy is it doesn't get lost on you there, but we're talking about by and large this works for the benefit of the woman. And you say, how do you change it? It's not a matter of just changing it. It's a matter of men changing the way that you are doing business. You go to court, you stand up like a man, you sit straight, but you are defiant when it comes to someone sabotaging your character and your integrity. You speak matter-of-factly about who you are. You don't allow other people to define who you are because you're the best person to tell the truth about yourself. Don't let anyone else endorse who you are or who you aren't. You don't need a support group. You don't need cheerleaders. You just need to be who you are. Say what you need to say. Don't allow people to cause you to become mute and quiet. Because at the end of the day, if someone says you're this and says you're that, they have the burden of proof. But men, we lose our fight because we feel like it's just to the point where there is no fight to be had. We have the mentality that we have lost before we start. We are intimidated. We're discouraged. When did it come to a point when we got that way? What happened? And so this story about Amber Hurd is very disturbing. I watched it not from start to finish. I would binge on it here or there. I know enough about this story to the point where I know some way or another Johnny Depp had gotten informed by someone who knows about narcissistic personality disorder. Why do I know? He knew during this trial. Case in point, Johnny Depp wore shades. He wore shades. And you know why he wore those shades? He wore those shades because we now know and we've known since we got this education about narcissists. Don't look them in the eye. Don't give them eye contact. Don't allow them to read your emotions. Ignore the hell out of them. And another thing, when he began to talk in court, he paid her no attention. He didn't look in her direction. Go back and look at some of the tapes. When this female came and was court ordered to stand on the stand and as a star witness for Johnny Depp, I forget her name. I said Courtney Love in another video. I don't know if that's her, but it was a woman that he had, a friend of his. She's a Hollywood actress as well. It was a time or an incident where she fell and she hurt her ankle, and Johnny Depp came to her aid and he picked her up and he carried her to her room. I think he shared this situation with Amber Hurd, and Amber Hurd on the stand blatantly lied and said that this woman had told her out of her own mouth that Johnny Depp pushed her down the stairs. She had to come to court and exonerate Johnny Depp and give her own accurate account of what happened. And she said out of her own mouth, Johnny Depp never pushed me. Actually, I fell on my own. He came to my aid, picked me up and carried me to my room. Watch the way Amber Hurd looks over in disgust, and you can see the narcissist in her. The envy and the jealousy, you could cut it with a knife. And see, I'm telling you guys something. This is why we must continue to maintain our awareness, our education of this type demonic activity, because that happens. It's far-reaching. It doesn't discriminate. It doesn't matter how much money you got or how broke you are. It doesn't matter where you live, who you are, what your occupation is, what your position in society, how much influence you got over people. It does not matter, because when these demons come in, they will scandalize you. They will discredit you in any shape, way, or form they can, and they are very convincing. They are very convincing, because the human psyche tends to believe the truth last and believe a lie first. Because people groom us and condition us to accept them as being who they perceive, who they demonstrate themselves to be. And the narcissist does this. They do this in a way where when they approach you, they blend right in with regular everyday people. And so when you find out that they are nothing that they claim to be, it throws you for a loop, to say the least. And it causes you to go on to, depends on how deep the abuse is, it causes some of us to go on and not trust anyone from this point on. It takes a long time to rebuild that trust in people. But I'll tell you this is a comforting thing. All you have to do is stay aware and stay in tune and stay educated about this knowledge of who they are on a regular basis, and you'll know and understand that certain things that they do pop out. They pop out at you without you actually going overboard to try to look for them. They show you who they are in the very beginning, if you're paying attention. And so she's living in Spain, Amber Hurd. Very disgusting human being. No emotion whatsoever. No remorse whatsoever. She never spent a day in jail for this. Perjury, that's a criminal offense. She didn't spend a day in jail. And you know, I think the graceful thing about Johnny Depp, she had $7 million or $8 million she was supposed to pay in restitution. Johnny Depp was gracious enough to lower it to $1 million. All of her attorney fees were paid for by her insurance or something like that. So she got off scot-free. She came in wanting all that attention, and now she's gone into hiding. And I heard through the media that she changed her name, and she named herself after some popular frontier. So she gave herself a popular name after someone. Isn't it funny? She went into hiding, but now she's changed her name. But she changed her name to someone that is held in high esteem. You know, even when you cause a narcissistic injury to them, they go their way, but they need to reattach themselves to something in order to get that fuel. And so they go away in shame, but they're not down for the count. Because you have to understand, they cannot live and exist without this attention. And they cannot live and exist without destroying other people's lives. Because for them to live and not pay attention to things around them, that would be a very isolated lifestyle. A narcissist can't be isolated. And because they have to be out and amongst other people, because they need supply and fuel from people, they can't not help but pay attention to people who have healthy, beautiful lives. This causes envy. This causes jealousy. This causes spite. And their ego can't stand it. So what do they have to do? They have to get in with that person, garner that person's affection, and fake friendship with that person. And there are some people somewhere delighted that she's living in Spain. And I'm sure they're having dinner and lunch with her like nobody's business. Because some of us, even the ones who have read what narcissistic personality disorder is, we're of that firm belief, well, I ain't got to worry about her doing that to me. All I'm doing is having lunch with her. That's like saying, I ain't worrying about the rattlesnake biting me. I'm just in the room with him. He's over there and I'm over here. But what you don't realize, that room, if you fall asleep and you determine that door is locked, you're doomed. And this is how a narcissist comes in. They slither into your life. They insulate themselves to the point where when you get ready to retreat and exit, you find that there's no way out. Because they've enmeshed themselves into your life, your existence, into your psyche. There are some people can get up and walk out of the door and leave the narcissist right now as I speak who are listening to this video. But the cognitive distance, not the cognitive dissonance, my apologies. The trauma bond is so strong that they've given themselves one poor reason to stay, and they have a million good reasons to leave. This is how strong and influential these people are. The longer they remain in your space, the more debilitating it becomes, and the more weak we become, to the point where the strength you thought you had, once had, you don't recognize it anymore. Thought I'd just let you guys know Amber Hurd, she bounced. She no longer lives in the U.S. She lives in Spain. Who cares, really, right? Caught this message in this story. I just wanted to bring it to you guys. Stay reminded of this Amber Hurd story, man, because there's a lot of Amber Heards out there. There's a lot of them out there. So just be careful, guys. That being said, bless.